Hi, my name is Courtney Christensen, and this will be a presentation of my autoethnography. On April 15th, 1997, my loving parents welcomed a large baby girl into the family. I was born in Pensacola, Florida at a Navy hospital because my dad was in the Navy, and ever since that day, I knew I would always be surrounded by family I love and who supported and cared for me because all of my family lived in California and they traveled all the way just to see me born. Now, growing up, I had a built-in best friend. My little sister, Jenna, was welcomed into the family on November 6, 1999, and we had each other's backs because we went through a lot of moves with my dad being in the Navy, and when we finally settled in Fortuna, which was around the year 2003, we finally started to branch off from each other and make our own friends because we had settled. Then in 2007, on August 23rd, our two youngest little sisters, Alicia and Zoe, were born. And from having Jenna as my sister and now having these two babies, I knew I needed to be a role model and provide for them a a learning process that they didn't have to experience all on their own. They could go through me as well. And I remember when they were born, and in this top right picture, you see I'm the one with my hands over my mouth, and I was just in awe, and I couldn't believe that these were going to be my baby sisters, and I felt like I had so much that I needed to show them and to open them up to in this world. Now, leading into high school, which I was in middle school from 2008 and I graduated 8th grade in 2011, I did a lot of stuff. I participated in sports, and that I've always participated in sports. And this picture on the far left is my first travel softball team. We were called the Humboldt Fog. And this group of girls, we were the best of what our in Humboldt County. And I'm on the bottom right of the pyramid we have going here. And all of these girls I'm friends with till today. I only play softball with one of them now, though. But this team, we traveled from Southern California all the way up into Oregon, and being from a small town in Humboldt County, we got to experience some really cool things, and we got to play softball, and that was what was important to us. Now, in the middle, I'm number 15. This was my freshman volleyball team, and this team was the hardest working team I ever have been on. I After I graduated middle school, I was terrified to go into high school, and you hear all these stereotypes of all these people who are scary, and being a little fish in a big pond, you're afraid of what's going to happen. And these girls on this team helped me make friends, and I conditioned with them, and I lost weight, and I gained so much more knowledge of volleyball and the game, and it was just an amazing experience. And then going into high school, I was so much more confident in myself, through sports and having all these friends that I had made the summer before. And so it was a really cool experience, and I'm glad I went through it. Now, the far right picture, this is my grandma and my grandpa, but we call him Papa. I worked summers for them. My papa owns a construction company called Cable Construction, and he introduced me to what I thought was going to be my life. He had me working in his shop with him ever since I was a little girl, and I helped him build, I helped him clean up, you name it, I helped him do it. And one day he said, "You know what? You would be a good engineer." And I didn't question it at all. From that day on, I was like, I'm going to be an engineer because that's what I thought I would be good at. And, having that set in my mind before I even started high school, that's what I wanted to do. I was set. And, all these three pictures, my little sisters were there through thick and thin. They watched me win, they watched me lose, they watched me sweat and cry. They experienced everything just as much as I did. And, being a role model, that opened their eyes up just as much as it opened my eyes up. And it really made me really careful about what I did, so that because I knew they were watching no matter what. And going into high school, a lot of kids don't think about that. And so it made me kind of take a step back and really think about what I was going through. And I'm glad I had to do that. Now, high school was probably the best 4 years of my life. I have nowhere to complain about what happened during high school. I met my current boyfriend, Russell Cadle, the picture to the third right, and we're still together. And he makes me so happy, and just, I don't think I would have been able to make it through college without him. And now the far left picture is me and my oldest younger sister, Jenna. And then the picture right next to it is our whole family on my basketball senior night. And then the picture on the far right is me on graduation day. And all of these pictures play such a huge role, and they're all centered around family. My family helped me get through high school, and I was one of those high school students who just kind of went with the flow. I didn't make anything happen other than through sports. I was named the HDN MVP, which is our league. Out of all the teams we played, I was ranked the best according to all of our coaches in our league. And as a freshman, to receive that award, it was such an honor. And, I couldn't have done it without my family and all the support that they gave me. And it was just really awesome to go through all the experiences I did. And like I said before, having my little sisters there as a all-time audience. They were there with me at home when I was practicing by myself, when I was doing my homework, and I had to not put on a show for them, but I had to show them how hard you had to work for what you wanted. And my junior year, after my junior year that summer, I got an internship at a civil engineer firm. And I did things from running errands for the guys that worked there, and picking up supplies and turning in permits. And then I was also able to go on job sites with them and collect dirt samples to process. And that was like, even through then, I was like, engineering is what I want to do. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Now, I started college at George Fox University in August of 2015. Only my mom moved me in, and from that day, I would be left by myself with my new best friend, Caitlin Schilling, who is my roommate, and she's the one in these pictures with me. We had communicated all summer, and I knew that we were going to be best friends. We had so much in common, and it was a shock that we were lucky being the ones who got to share this experience with each other. Now, being an engineer, as you can imagine, you go through you have a lot of stuff you have to do. And in September of 2015, I was both a first baseman and a pitcher, as well as an engineering major. Now, that is a lot, because for softball, we would be out on the field practicing for between 3 to 4 hours with just fielding and hitting. And now pitching, you have to add another almost 2 hours onto that. And now with that, you also have to do weightlifting, and you're working out and all that. So I ended up spending more time on the field than I did anywhere else. And I loved that, but being an engineer, I needed to focus on my studies too. So in September, I sat down with my coach, Jessica Holland, and we made the decision that because engineering is what I've been so set on doing for my whole life, we knew I had to stop pitching. And both these pictures are from high school. And you can see I loved pitching. I loved being a part of that, but I knew but engineering was more important to me at this time. Then shortly after, I had decided to change my major. It was a very long process, and I myself am very bad at making decisions because I'm always nervous that I'm making the wrong one. But I knew with how much stress was being put on me, and after I made this decision, so much stress was relieved, and so much weight was lifted off my shoulders that I knew I had made the right decision to change my civil engineering major to a business administration major. Now I changed it to business administration because I wanted something that was broad enough to where if I did end up continuing this degree that I wouldn't just be left stranded somewhere. Like I knew I still had directions I could go, and that's what put me here. Now, in December, I ended up not making grades to play softball in the spring. And this was a very hard time for me because softball was my life. I went to George Fox to do softball and engineering, and now that I wasn't doing engineering, all I had was softball. And this made me kind of open my eyes, and I really learned my lesson that I haven't been doing what I came here to do. I needed to get myself together. I needed to show my sisters that I'm still a role model. This is just a tiny setback. I still need to come back from this, and that's exactly what I did. I started my spring semester not wanting to go back because I knew I was going to face people who kept asking me, "Why aren't you playing softball?" And I had to tell them that I didn't make grades, and that was so hard for me. But you see me in this picture with a smile on my face. This was my first class my spring semester, and I was proud to say I was a business administration major, and I was so happy to be there. And I wanted to show my little sisters, you keep fighting for what you want. Even though I didn't have a clear path in my mind that I knew what I wanted to do anymore, I knew I had to show them that you still had to just keep going. And then I decided that I wanted to transfer back home after this year. And it was, again, a very hard decision, but I knew it needed to be made because 412 miles is too far in between me and my family. After the semester, not being able to play, I decided to get my shoulder checked out. And being an athlete, you always have things going on, injuries, but you learn to play through them. And I found out that I had a tear in my labrum, which is right outside your rotator cuff in your shoulder, and I needed to have surgery on it. I went in on March 31st, 2016, and I got 3 anchors put into my muscle, and I'm all healed, and I'm going to start physical therapy hopefully next week and be good to go to play softball again. Last Friday, April 29th, 2016, was my last day in Newberg, Oregon. And this is a Google Maps picture of my house. And this is where I'm going to be living. And now that y'all know where I live. But being with my family is where I need to be. That's where I perform my best. I have my support system. I have my little sisters to be a role model to. And now after CR, I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I know I want to either go to Humboldt State University or Western Oregon University as of right now and stick with my business degree. And I plan on getting married. I want the typical country wedding. Hopefully I'm getting married to Russell Cato as of right now. And I love the whole cowgirl boots and dress. That's who I am. My dream home, I see it as a modern farmhouse. And I still have no idea what I want to be, but I'm okay with that. I want to see where life takes me. And then with starting a family, I know I want to have a big family because I've always been in a big family, and I think that's the best.